Hey everybody, welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson,
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinzel.
and we still got our buddy Dalton Good with us, joining the Kinzel's classroom. How you doing, bud?
What's going on, guys? I'm doing good, just like my last name.
Good to hear, buddy. All right, guys. Well, class is back in session. Professor, take it away.
Saddle up, boys. Class is back in session. Welcome back to another edition of the Kinzel's Classroom here on the Stock Car Spectacle. So last week I was kind of disappointed because I couldn't really send anybody to the Breakfast Club. I had to send my own man, Matt the Benedetto, to the Breakfast Club last week, but now I got a nice little list here. Professor wasn't pleased with some of the drivers on the racetrack. So before we get into it, for those who are just tuning in for the first time, what we do here is I pick out a couple drivers, and it's up to you guys to assess how their weekends went, and then I save one driver for last that we're all gonna discuss, and that you got a good one tonight. That's one's gonna be fun. So let's get it started off. So first on the list, I actually had to go with an organization here. I went with Roush Fenway Racing. So guys, this is a blast from the past. When's the last time we saw both Roush Fenway Racing cars running in the top 10 at the same time? And when's the last time we saw these cars lead laps at a track not named Daytona and Talladega? So despite Chris Buescher finishing 19th in the race, he led 57 laps, won a stage, and he looked like the car to beat early on in this race. And then Ryan Newman led the way for RFR with a 7th place finish. So should we expect more of this from them this season? Ian, what you got for Roush Fenway Racing?
I think you gotta give them a solid B for their effort for this race. Actually, make it a B plus since Ryan Newman got that thing up. What would you say, ninth place?
You got it up to 7th.
Seventh place. Okay, so yeah, even better. So yeah, Chris Buescher won a stage, got himself some points that he definitely needs because we don't know how these cars are going to be running every weekend. So definitely a B plus for that team because yeah, like you said, when was the last time that we saw Roush Fenway Racing actually like competing for a win? It's been a long ass time. So yeah, B plus for Roush Fenway.
I think almost for that reason, you'd almost have to give them an A for that effort. I mean, it has been a long time since the 17 and the 6 car where we're competing for a win and running up top at the same time. So I actually gave them an A for that. But now it's going to be up to the old cat in the hat to be consistent with this. So we will definitely have to see what we get out of them this season because this is a strange season. For all we know, both Roush Fenway racing cars could win a race this season. That wouldn't surprise me one bit with how the season's gone so far.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, moving on. All right, this is where it starts to get fun. This one's for Mike, and it's your 12 car of Mr. Ryan Blaney. So, start to the 2021 season has not been kind to Ryan Blaney. First 3 races, finishes of 30th, 15th, and 29th. Failed to earn stage points in the first stage, and he only got 3 in that second stage. Also involved in that wreck with Eric Almirola on lap 201. Really put the nail in the coffin for Blaney's day. So, Mike, it's very early in the season. It's a reason to be concerned for this 12th team. How would you have to assess Mr. Ryan Blaney here?
I'm gonna give him a C minus. Incident notwithstanding, he ran, mid-teens to back end of the top 10 for a lot of the race. So if he doesn't have the incident where Eric Almirola decides to clear himself up, I mean, he has a ho-hum day, not a great day, not a bad day, but the kind of day that if that's one of your worst days, keeps you in a championship picture. But the incident did happen, which, is a really big killer for your day. So I felt like they were running pretty good up until that point. So I'm going to go C minus D plus kind of territory for Ryan Blaney.
I was going to go in the D range as well. All right, moving on the list. This one's for Dalton. I saved you a good one. Your best friend, 22 car of Mr. Joey Logano.
Best friend?
You are ruthless, my friend.
So what are you talking about?
Overall, Team Penske did not have a great race on Sunday. Not one Penske car placed in the top 15. Keselowski finished 16th, Blaney 29th, Joey Logano ran 25th. He got minimal stage points in stage 1 and none in stage 2, and he brought home a well below average finish for him of 25th. And then for him to finish so poorly at this track where he won the championship at, quite the disappointment. Honestly, it looked like for that last half of the race, that car just didn't have any speed. He could not get back up inside the top 10. He couldn't even crack the top 15. He got himself back in the top 20, and then he got screwed in another restart, and he finished 25th. So Dalton Good, Joey Logano, what do we got for him, buddy?
I love to see him struggle. It's my favorite. So yeah, very disappointing day for Joey Logano. But to start on the pole and then drop all the way back. But I must say, Joey Logano has pretty much struggled at Homestead Miami ever since he won the championship in 2018. I remember last year. I don't know if something happened, but I remember it was the same thing as last year. I remember he was up there in the top 5, top 10. He was leading a little bit of laps, not much, but a little bit. And I think he might have gotten like a pit road penalty or some contact on the track, something like that. And he stayed about 3 to 6 laps down the entire day. Same thing pretty much happened again here at Homestead. And like I said, I love it. I got to give my worst enemy, Joey Logano, a D on this race in Homestead Miami. I'm not really going to give that a failing grade because, like I said, I mean, he's been struggling at the Homestead for about a while now, like ever since he won the 2018 championship. So I think that'd be a fair grade.
I was going to give him an F, honestly. I thought that second half of the race, I thought he was terrible.
Well, for some reason, him and Brad just came down pit road with like 30 laps to go.
Yeah, that also screwed them. They thought that was going to allude to some other people coming down pit road. Just didn't happen because they stayed on the racetrack. It could have been a different story, but just not a great day for Mr. Joey Logano here. Not a great day for Penske at all. If I was to grade the entire Penske organization, we're in the D range to the F range because to not put a car in the top 15 of all that's worthy of a failing grade. So I'm gonna send all 3 Penske boys down to the Breakfast Club for me. That's how I think that their days went at Homestead. So they can join their almost alliant team member Matt DiBenedetto in the Kinzel's Classroom Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I forgot to mention. Like at the beginning of the race, it was all Penske. It was all Logano and Brad Keselowski fighting for the lead, and then all of a sudden, like very early, they just disappeared and they were nowhere to be found.
Where to be found? They were missing on a milk carton. So all 3 of them get F's from me. And so all 4 Penske guys, if we're going to count Matty D as a Penske car, which he's got the alliance with them, they've all been they're their own little breakfast club right now because they're the only ones who've gotten failing grades to start off. Moving on. This one's back to Ian. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 13th place finish doesn't always light up the stat sheets, but for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for JTG Doherty Racing, got to say it's a pretty solid run. Stenhouse had that car up as high as 3rd place in the race, and he wound up running 40% of the race in the top 15. It's been a solid start for Stenhouse with finishes of 18th, 18th, and 13th, given the equipment that he's running. So is he going to keep it up? What are your thoughts? What are we going with for Ricky Stenhouse?
Yeah, I'm kind of laying somewhere in the range of a C+ and a B- for him right now because he's still getting adjusted with that team. You know, he just moved over there from Roush Fenway Racing last year. So still getting comfortable with the Chevy regs. He's been driving Ford his entire NASCAR career for as long as I can remember. But yeah, definitely somewhere between C+ and B-. I'll be nice. I'll give him a B- because 13th place for that team is really, really good. And that's what they're looking for. Just helping develop that team way more. So yeah, definitely a B- for Ricky.
Yeah, I think that's a fair grade. You got to take what you can get at this point for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for that team. You just don't know what you're going to get out of JTG cars. So I think that's a solid start. Now the question is just going to be, can he keep improving on that? All right, so this one, we're going to wrap up. This one's for all 3 of you guys. And the guy I picked for who I'm putting on the hot seat right now is that 23 car, Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace is now 3 races in with his new 2311 racing team. He's put up the finishes of 17th, 26th, and 22nd. He was one of the fastest cars in the Daytona 500 before being caught up in that late race incident You look to have struggled a little bit here in these last two races. So how should we really assess this 23-11 and Bubba Wallace so far? I think it's for me, I think it's still a little early to judge the performance without these guys getting to run any practice, and they've only had a few races together. So what do you guys think? We'll start with Mike.
I tend to agree with you. I think it's way early to get too down. Again, this is the first mile and a half this team has had together with zero practice. They're literally just going off of notes of old setups from, whatever information they're getting from Gibbs and from Denny and things like that. So, which, as we know, can be helpful, but that doesn't mean that's going to be the way that Bubba wants the car set up or whatnot. So they're still working some kinks out. I'm going to be a little lenient because, it's a brand new organization. I'm going to say C- so far to C range. Again, because had they not messed up the wheel incident with Bubba Wallace at Daytona, who knows what happens. So I'm not saying he wins that race, obviously, but, if he's got, two bad finishes in the top 10, potentially a top 5, changes your outlook quite drastically. And then you add in the fact that Bubba is far from a very good road racer. So that's really, really kind of skewing the stats as well, I think.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. It's way too early to kind of give this team a solid grade because we still don't really know what they can do. They're new. Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan, they just started this team up. So there's just going to be a lot of trials that this team will be running through. But yeah, I'll agree with you, Mike. I'll give them C- or a solid C, somewhere around there, because hell, they looked good at Daytona 500 before he got caught up in a bunch of shit. And then, yeah, not the best road course racer. And then Homestead Miami is one tough mile and a half. So tough start to the season. I wouldn't put them down in the pits yet like they're a bad team, but they got a lot to work on.
Before we get to Dalton, I'll just say this. Let's see where they're at the 12 race mark. I bet you they'll start sprinkling in a top 10 here and there, and Bubba will be running closer to the top 15 consistently by that point.
I can see it.
All right. Well, Mike pretty much took all the words right out of my mouth. I kind of want to be a concern a little bit, but like I said, it's too early. I don't really have the right to criticize just yet. On the bright side, at least he's outrunning Eric Jones. I know it's not by much, but at least he is. I mean, because if he wasn't, I think there'd start to be a problem. But honestly, I didn't expect much 23XI racing at the beginning of this year anyway, to begin with, because, like I said, it's just a new team. They're starting to figure everything out. You got the no practice. Bubba Wallace, I mean, yeah, he had a fast car to Daytona 500. I thought he was a contender to win that thing, not going to lie. Road course, he's probably one of the worst road course races on the planet. And Homestead Miami, I really don't have a excuse for that one, but I'm honestly going to give this team about, I want to say 3 to 4 years. I'm not counting this year just because, no practice or a brand new team. They're just now starting out, still trying to figure out everything. I'm not going to count next year either because of the new Gen 7 car. Everybody's going to be figuring that out as well, figuring out where they're at right there too. And of course, I think they want to expand later on as they go, like bring new drivers in, go to a 4-car team hopefully. But I think it's too early for me to criticize Bubba Wallace and that team yet. So I think C- would be a fair score as well.
Yeah, I'm in the C range as well. We just don't know enough about this team yet. So I think Mike was fair with what he said. Let's see what this team is running around the 12 race mark. I think Dale Jr. said it a couple years ago that you really don't know what you got out of your race car until at least 10 races into the season, and then you really know what you got to work on. So we'll see what happens. So before we wrap up, I had a couple honorable mentions that we didn't name. I put Michael McDowell down. I had him on last week's classroom, so I didn't want to bring him back, but he's off with the win and 3 straight top 10s. Obviously, good things are happening for that Front Row Motorsports team. And then I put RCR in there as well as an honorable mention with the Reddick second place finish and Austin Dillon finishing 12th. I expect more good things to come out of those guys. So if you guys don't have anything else to say, class dismissed. Penske Racing. I'll see you guys after class.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'd like to thank our buddy Dalton Good for joining us. You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram. He's got some great content. He's Kyle Busch's #1 fan and Joey Logano's #1 hater. So make sure you remember that before you hit that follow button, because you will regret it if you're a 22 or even a Dale Jr. fan too. You hunt those guys down.
And a Chase Elliott fan too. I'm not afraid to call those guys out.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, but make sure to check out our merchandise on Spreadshirt. Dalton Good designed it. Some beautiful artwork done by him. We'll have the link below for the store. Make sure to like our videos, show some support for the Stock Car Spectacle, and subscribe so you can be notified every time we upload new content. Make sure to check out our shows this week with our Homestead review, our Vegas preview, and the Gamblers picks. Tune in to Koto's Mojo with me, Adam Cornwell, and Patrick Koto for weekly sports updates. You can find that on all podcast platforms. And make sure to tune in to our buddies at For the Lead. So thanks for joining, guys. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
and I'm Nick Kinzel.
Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.